Three lives intertwined. Pulled into a world none of them could have imagined. When everything you know is gone.
All I want is to wake up and know that all of this was a dream.
How far are you willing to go?
You can't stop someone who is willing to die for love.
What would you do to survive?
The greatest threat to an empire is always from within.
How much could you overcome?
I'll watch them kill themselves to get what was never theirs to have.
What will it take to escape Lantern City?
Hello everyone, welcome to the Lantern City panel. I'm Trevor Crafts. I'm the executive producer and co-creator of Lantern City. I want to take a second to thank C2E2 for having us here this weekend in Chicago. Everything's been ultra fantastic, but I wanted to introduce my fellow panelists and start off with our series writer, Matthew James Daly. Taking the big step up.
Oh, there's stairs over there.
There's stairs over there, yeah. And somebody that some of you may know, a dear friend of ours and our Martha Ellen Gray, Mira Furlan. And that's it. Oh, no, wait, sorry. You're with the guy every day. Another person somebody may have seen before, my co-creator and co-executive producer, Mr. Bruce Boxleitner. So we just wanted to take everybody through sort of our updates. We launched this series concept at Comic-Con last year, and television development is a very long process. But one of the things that we wanted to update you guys with was some new artwork and also our announcement, which we'll let you know about very shortly. For those of you that don't know, Lantern City is an epic television series in development. Much like a Game of Thrones or a Boardwalk Empire, Lantern City really sort of focuses on a core question of how far would you go to be with the person that you love the most? So how far, not how far you would travel, you know, by car or by plane, but would you throw away everything that you believed, reality, you know, politics, religion, just to be with that person for one more moment? So the storyline really revolves around three main characters from our world that get transported to Lantern City. And it's, like I said, it's that love story that really drives the entire series. It's about Max desperately trying to find his fiancée, the love of his life, Rachel, and a detective named Miles West who has accidentally fallen into this lantern, into this world, to find both of them as he's investigating a missing persons case. So the series, I originally conceived the series, and I had done a pilot called Smokewood, Nevada, which is sort of a comedy western cross between Tombstone and The Office, and I had cast Mr. Bruce in that role of Johnny Morgan, the old cattle baron.
Watch that old business.
Sorry, grizzled old. Is that
Grizzled old,
anyway?
yes,
So, but I was looking for a partner, somebody that really knew about building worlds, because that's really what we're doing with Lantern City, is building a whole world. And somebody that not only understood Hollywood, but really understood about writing, and through Bruce's novels, he's a great novelist, and obviously Babylon 5, show somebody may have seen. That's when, then after that, Bruce and I got together and really brainstormed the idea to a much fuller extent, and then brought Matt on. Matt and I had written together on a documentary, a couple television documentaries, and then Matt really took what was in our head and built it out into a much bigger world. So, and then we started casting, which was really exciting. And one of the first people that we were able to graciously join us was our dear friend, Mira, beautiful Mira Furlan. And I just want to let, you know, first I'll lead off with Matt, just about the world that we've built, and then I'll throw it to Bruce and we'll do a couple graphics. But just when we started this project a year ago, I mean, we really had the idea and the core, but there was so much more to do, and you really hit the nail on the head for Bruce and I entirely. So tell us more about that process of building this place.
Yeah, when they brought this idea to me, I really wanted to make it as epic as possible and as authentic as possible. And so we wrote not only what would be seen on the show, but also all of the backstory, you know, just in case there would ever be, you know, episodes 1 through 3, it would make sense what happens in those. So, but the great thing was building this world, creating this amazing steampunk city that is this massive metropolis, walled in from anything in the outside, and then throwing a wrench in everything by bringing people who aren't from that world into that world. And so I really, you know, took their theme of how far would you go to be with the person you love, and also added, what would you do to survive? Who would you become in order to live? And would you still be the same person that you were in the other world? And so those conflicts and those themes really bring out some interesting dynamics in not just our 3 main characters from our world, but also the characters within Lantern City, because one of the things that I also did was create sort of a 3-tiered society in this world. So you have the ruling class, who literally live above the world. They live in these high-rises, and they don't really acknowledge or accept what's going on below. And then you have the working class who's, you know, living in sort of run-down apartments, and they're really under this oppressive rule because the education system has been disbanded. There's no, you know, essentially most books are gone, and they're really just sort of a slave society to the ruling class. And then below the city is the underground, and that is a very dangerous place. However, you have freedom, so that, you know, what price is your freedom worth? Where you don't have to be under the rule of someone else. However, you cannot trust anyone. You never can really turn your back because you never know what's going to happen. And so if that's worth it to you to not have to be sort of a slave to someone else, then that's the risk that they take. And so there's all these dynamics. And of course, all 3 tiers, they're all interacting, and it's, you know, it's been fairly exciting.
And I mean, I think in terms of that you said this steampunk world, I mean, Bruce, we talk about this a lot. You've been a lot of places. Why did we choose steampunk? Go.
Speak.
First of all, Mira and I have a great deal in common with this story. The down below that you talk about, the underworld, sounded like every day on Babylon 5. And that was before the cameras rolled. No, just kidding. We love that show. But I think both of us have a unique experience in this type of saga. Lantern City is a character in itself, very much like the Babylon Station was a character in itself. It's where all this takes place. I think, you know, people ask what's steampunk. I want to say Lantern City because it's going to be our interpretation of this genre.
It's a good answer, by the way.
Huh?
Lantern City. It's a good answer.
Yes, thank you. I borrowed that from you. I've never been afraid of stealing. Anyway, and I think that's what I want to bring Mira in on this, because we had compelling storylines, compelling characters on Babylon 5. I think that's why people kept tuning in every week. I think we have this very same thing with Mr. Daly has written here. Just phenomenally nuanced characters. Mira saw this, and she can speak to this, and we've had all of the actors we've mentioned, and I'm not sure if we've mentioned them all yet here, but
No.
Sir John Rhys Davies was the first one to, we met him at Dragon Con last year in
Looking
Atlanta.
very dapper in his three-piece suit,
Yes,
which
his
he always
three-piece
wears,
suit,
and
and-
I laud him for that, because that's a tough thing to do in Atlanta
Yeah,
in
the heat,
August.
yeah. But he came up to me. I knew him back in the Scarecrow and Mrs. King days when we shot over in England during one summer, and he guest starred on. And well, Bruce, how are you? You know, blah blah blah. What's this project you're working on? This Lantern City. Right there, he said, "You've got the role." You know, because I just want to hear that all day. You know. And of course, all of you know who he is. I mean, there isn't a doubt in your minds. He came to us. He read it. We
Yep.
got the material to him. I forget how long it was before we received a 2-page email or
Yeah, about that.
type of thing. It was the best review I've ever read in my life. I hope that'll be our review. He was knocked out by it. He was very eloquent, but he said it was the best science fiction script that he's read in 20 years, and I think coming from him, I took that as a great compliment, and Matthew certainly should. But he's not alone. Mira saw this, and Mira, you take it from there.
I mean, just from the perspective of an actress, of a female actor, I can say that you rarely encounter such an incredibly strong, complex, powerful female character as you have created. With all kinds of layers, with, you know, who can't be labeled as a bad guy or a good guy, who's much more than that, who's interesting, who's mysterious, who's always, there are surprises on every page on that script. It's, it leads you into this world that you plug in with so forcefully, and you live there. And then what I love about the script, that it has this connection with our world. You know, that's something that Babylon 5 had, and that's the best, you know, if that can be established. The parallels, even politically, I saw all these parallels to the state of the world now. And so on every level, it's a mesmerizing, for me, it was a really mesmerizing read. So I hope when it, I mean, and I was constantly imagining it. I mean, it's so, you know, visually compelling and psychologically interesting and truthful. That's also very important, because science fiction can go into some place where I as an audience, can't quite follow it, and it stops being interesting to me. But this has, in every single layer of the story, it has this connection with our situation, politically, psychologically, socially, and so on and so on. So I am delighted. I mean, I'm delighted that Bruce invited me, who was my favorite partner on Babylon 5. I mean, it's such a, and I've always said that. I mean, such a generous giving actor, you know. It would be, I mean, I'm just, and I'm so happy to have met you, and I really felt like we've known each other in some other life.
Very
I mean,
much.
it's really, it was an instant connection, an instant trust.
Yeah, and
It's something that doesn't happen so often.
And I think that's one of the things in our casting of the show that we're really trying to look for, is that intangible connection between the players and the creators. Because a show like Babylon 5, a show like Firefly, I mean, these are shows that are great shows, but they have that extra something that as viewers, I think we all sort of intangibly recognize that there's something else here, that these people really love each other, they care about each other, they hate each other, you know, as I'm sure you did with Bruce many times during filming. But I think that that's really, you know, in casting John, Tony Amendola, who plays Strom Illick, the leader of the Underground, Raphael Sabarge, who also is cast as Kendall Cornick, who's the leader of the Workers, Gigi Edley, we just recently cast from Farscape. And so I think that having that crew together is really going to bring some magic. And you had mentioned about visuals, and you know, the look of everything. And I mean, I think if I can show some visuals now, what we've had is, you know, we've had this idea of having a specific look and feel that we can have of a rich, full space. And here you can see some of our early renderings from DragonCon, where we trotted out some of the first sketches, and you know how far we have come to a very rich, full world that you can see here. These are a sketch of the gray Empire Towers, but then it ends up being so much more. And all of this is all part of our development. It's all part of our building of this world. And to sort of match what was on the page and what Matt has written, you know, you have all this, the deep underground, all the different strata of what the Gray Empire embodies. Here's the actual symbol, the emblem of the Gray Empire, representing not only the four rulers of that have been of the Gray Empire, but also the lantern itself. And we're not just stopping with graphics and with concept art and concept development. We've started already prop creation. One of our steampunk contributors, a mask maker named Tom Banwell, actually created this. This is the Lantern City Guard.
Yeah,
So
picture a bunch of those about 7 feet tall coming at you.
barreling in on you. Not a good image.
Not a good sign.
And very much so for the series, we're going to try to blend CGI and practical effects and live effects. This is not a full CGI show. Definitely, this is going to be something that is that has a life, and you can touch it and you can feel it, and the actors can actually experience it as well.
Well, just to add on to that, just what I said before about the authenticity of this is that the steampunk community is a maker community. And they would abandon our show immediately if we were like, this is an all CGI show. You know, when there's so much fantastic work that's created every single day, and we've tapped into that because it makes our show better immediately. It just automatically does, because, you know, when you have something like this, I mean, that's just, I mean, just the detail of that is so remarkable.
And that's what I want to say, that, you know, a Hollywood prop house, not that they couldn't do these type of things, but I think going to the fan base, the subgenre of steampunk, the detail and the authenticity is what we want to have there. We want to have the very fine things, you know, whether it's helmets, whatever it is, hats, dresses, the fine dresses that Martha would wear, down to the, like we were talking about earlier today, the earrings. If someone had sent those to us and they're going to be used in it, that's a very unusual way of doing this.
Yeah, we're actually having people contribute.
Going to the fan base as opposed to Western costume or any of the other very fine costume houses that are used for films and television. But I think we need to emphasize more about how this is the reverse of how it's normally done. We're actually doing something very, very different. We're creating a show before we're even getting to film it. Normally it's the other way. We film this thing, we present it to you, the audience, and you either respond by watching it or you don't. I've been on a few of those. I've been on one or two that did make it, and people kept tuning in. So I mean,
but I mean, yeah, I think that one of the things we're doing is we're reaching out to the maker community first, that steampunk community, and we're really allowing them for the first time to interact with the show by submitting prop designs, costume designs, things like that, that we can actually we'll use on the show in production. And so, like Bruce said, maybe Martha has a beautiful pair of earrings on in one episode. Those might be submitted by a fan, and you'll be able to see the work on the show every episode. There'll be pieces of the community that's involved, because that's really what this is. It's such a wonderful community of artists and makers, and to abandon them, like Matt said, and doing a whole CGI show is really against what that steampunk genre is all about.
Oh, absolutely. But I think also that because we go directly to them, we want to get their approval. You know, it's a genre that's been around 60s, 70s. Since then, I think it's really on the crest of a wave right now in the mainstream. You're seeing it more and more and things. So I think we're on to something. But it's an incredibly complex genre. Ours isn't quite a bunch of jokes either. I mean, it's
No,
not
it's
a
a
kind
dark,
of a
it's a pretty
jocular
dark place.
English gentlemen and ladies, you
look
know,
at
having tea in the
Martha's
garden.
outfit here. I mean, this is not happy time. This is a serious lady.
What
And
did
I mean,
you
I
say
think,
was Gertrude of Hamlet?
I like it. Yeah, Gertrude of
but I mean, I think that's, you know,
It's true.
you bring up a good point, Gertrude of Hamlet. I mean, for having this strong female character, and there's not just one. I mean, there's multiples. I mean,
multiple characters, exactly. Rachel, what an incredible character, also. But yeah, I mean, we made this parallel with Hamlet.
Well, you
no
did.
less
I thought that
than
was wonderful. I said she got it right away. When you said that.
You know, the relationship with the sun, which is so ambiguous, which has so many.
Yeah. But I think if we can pass
Interesting
muster with the steampunk community, I think then the mainstream audiences who have no idea what steampunk is, because, you know, I think they'll readily come along with us. It's going to the hardcore. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And if we can get their approval, I think that's good. Trevor and I have traveled around to various conventions that are strictly steampunk. We were just recently at the largest one, TeslaCon, a huge one, and just walking in amongst them, just getting the feel of it all. You know, I've always known it, and you know, steampunk. What is that? But when I saw it at conventions over the years, people doing some incredible costuming. And gadgetry and all this kind of thing. I said, I like this. It's fascinating, and it's not anything you've seen in movies too much. There are exceptions, but there's nothing really been built around this.
right.
Right.
And that's rare to have a genre that doesn't have a show attached first.
Right.
There are no brown coats. There are no Trekkies. There's nothing like that yet. There's, you know, hopefully soon there's going to be citizens of Lantern City, but that's going to be really also primarily because of everybody that's joined us in this journey. Artwork that I have up now is the wall, the Lantern City wall. Lantern City is a walled city. Nobody gets in and nobody gets out, and that was all because of the Gray Empire. That they 100 years ago they basically built this wall to protect the city, and then took it over forevermore. So it's kind of gray like your shirt, Bruce.
Huh?
It's gray like your shirt.
Really?
Oh. Does anybody want a shirt, by the way? Does anybody? Whoa!
Who wants one of these things? We got
shirts everywhere. Shirts.
Oh, wow.
Shirts.
Wow, was that the cue?
That was the cue. Let it go. Oh, my God.
I think there's more. Hang on.
There's quite a few more.
Might be a few more.
Can I? We should just line up at the door, I think.
Yeah.
There you go. Two more.
Before there's mass chaos here.
This
looks like a down. Whoa. Hold on, there'll be more. There'll be more. Hold on one second. I want to see if all of you good people that have shown up, we have many online as we speak right now, an audience out there. Do you have any questions? Did you have any curiosity as to what this might be?
I have one, before we do that, I actually have one sort of big announcement.
Oh,
which
yeah,
I think we can also have a lot of people ask a lot of questions at that point in time. The reason, partially why this picture is up of the wall is designing a television show, putting a television show takes a lot of time. And we've got some great progress that we've made, but one of the things that we want to make sure is that fans of the concept have something that they can really sink their teeth into, something that they can start to get to really understand the Gray Empire, understand the world that was built, and who built this wall. Where did this wall come from? Where did this world originate from? So I'm very happy to announce that shipping in only 2 months, which is going to be Comic-Con, actually, we have our first illustrated novel called Rise. Written by our scriptwriter and talent extraordinaire, Matthew James Daly, and a couple of fun surprises about Rise. Rise is the story, and I'll let Matt expound on this a little bit more, but Rise is the story of Isaac Foster Gray, the first Gray emperor to take power at Lantern City. And it's about him as a young boy. It's about his growth and expansion into the leader of an entire people. So we've partnered with Section Studios. They've done all of our concept art to date, being published by Blue Canvas. And Blue Canvas has done some great books just recently, The Art of Journey, the Sony video game, and God of War, Art of God of War, which I know is coming out for them soon. So another fun little addition to that is that Isaac Foster Gray is actually going to be played by our own Bruce Boxleitner.
As the little boy, too.
Which is amazing.
It'll be a challenge.
It's going to be, it was really interesting to flip through the Boxleitner family photos and find Bruce at 8 and Bruce at 14.
My prom photos.
The prom
from
photos were frightening,
1968.
let me tell you. They were absolutely frightening.
Nehru jackets were really cool. Come on.
So, I mean, essentially right now we have our pre-orders open. You can go to lanterncitytv.com/rise, and there's a lot of exclusive giveaways for pre-orders. The faster you order, the more great stuff you get, including video messages from Bruce, personalized video messages from Bruce, posters, T-shirts, and lots of other
new pins?
Yeah, exclusive new pins and all sorts of other goodies. Of course, books that are signed by us as well. So, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Rise, the book, and then I can talk a little bit more about the app as well.
Yeah, the very quick history is that when they brought me on last summer to start developing this show, I developed a lot more than they had anticipated.
He wouldn't stop writing.
Yeah,
it
I
was
just wouldn't
amazing.
stop.
I'd go to sleep.
Man doesn't sleep.
And as soon as I finished the first 2 episodes, I was like, you know, I've got enough material for maybe if you want to do like a graphic novel series or some books. And they're like, come on, stay focused, Matt, just stay focused. And I would throw these crumbs, you know, like Hansel and Gretel, like the crumbs along the trail. And then eventually they finally, you know, like maybe we should let Matt write the book. And so finally, and I had it all outlined since like August, so I was so ready to go. But it follows Isaac Foster Gray, who is the founder of Lantern City, from age 8 to about age 25 in Rise. And it's part military adventure story, it's part survival story like a Jack London, it's part family history, it's coming of age novel too. And what's been so exciting is that, you know, I'll have beautiful artwork next to everything that I've written. These guys just do such tremendous work. I mean, not only do they do all the artwork for God of War, but they recently did a lot of the artwork for the Joseph Kosinski film Oblivion. I mean, these guys are as excited as we are. But I just felt like we really need to tell this story because I wanted people to see Bruce in his prom outfit.
Yeah, I think that was the main thrust, was Bruce in his prom outfit.
No, to really, for everyone to, because we start the show about like 115 years into this city being walled in, but I really believe that everyone should know why. And it's a fascinating story. It's a lot of, it's a lot of heartbreak, and it's a character that I think people will really love to go on an adventure with. So,
and I think that for us, having Lantern City live in multiple places, I mean, here at C2E2 is a great place to launch essentially a version of a graphic novel. I mean, this is an illustrated novel, even hearkening back to N.C. Wyeth Treasure Island illustrations. It's an absolutely gorgeous book. It will ship. That's the nice thing, is that we're not shipping this thing and in a year everybody has to wait. This book is shipping in a blink of an eye. We've been heavy working on it. Matt hasn't slept less than he hasn't slept before. Cecil Kim, Justin Yun over at Section Studios have gone permanently blind because of the amount of illustrations that I've forced them to do. It's great to have these collaborations, to have Lantern City live in multiple different places at once. So obviously, as we're continuing to develop the television show, we wanted to make sure that everybody had something to really learn about. We haven't, because it's a TV show, we can't really release all of the scripts for the show, but we really wanted everybody to know the world so that when the show does hit the airwaves, and we hope that that's going to happen very, very soon, that everybody's going to be primed and ready. exclusive pre-order that we're doing will be available up until it's sold in retail stores and Amazon, which will be, I think, the 19th of July, which is a Friday. Bruce and I and Matt will also be at Comic-Con signing books as well. So if you missed the pre-order, then you can certainly come and see us there as well. But I think that if we can all share in this world together and start building this world and continue to submit, that's really for us sort of a critical stage. For us, we've been working on this for a year. Some people are just learning about Lantern City. Other people have been following us from pretty much since the beginning. But now is sort of our most critical time to continue to follow us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Yeah. Either way, but
even I knew that one.
So, yeah, even you knew that one. But I think that that's sort of, for me, that's key, is because right now, and I'll steal this line from Tony, actually from Raphael Sabarge at a previous convention that we did. Liking us, following us, that's really, you're voting for us. You're casting your vote. You're showing network executives, other production companies that we like this show. We want to hear more about this story. We want to see more about Lantern City. And that's, right now, like I said, that's the most sort of critical thing that I think fans can do. Continue to submit your work on the Workers Forum. We just got a submission the other day, a lighting designer, and it just absolutely blew my mind. I mean, the kinds of work that we're seeing on the Workers Forum is absolutely top-notch and very much rivals and is right in line with, you know, all the great prop houses in LA. So, I mean, I think for us, LanternCityTV.com/rise, that also helps executives see that there's a life, and we have the books, and we've got all sorts of different kinds of media. That's really, I think, the way that a lot of media is going to start going. So,
yeah, it's a brave new world now concerning selling of shows and things like that. They're not doing it the way when I started, with the new medias especially, and going to the fans first is such a different way of doing this. And I was at first, when Trevor was describing some of this to me, I was going, oh my God, how do we do this? I mean, how is this going to work? You know, but we're in a changing world, and these things have changed it. And Twitter and Facebook, it's an amazing, amazing tool to bring you your entertainment, you know? And the young people that are, I mean, I look at these guys here, this is the age of our network executives and our creators and writers in television nowadays. And
this would be a lot easier if I was a network executive.
Pardon me?
This would be a lot easier if I was a network executive. I'm just letting you know.
Would you please become that quick? I mean, I'm not getting any younger. It's
true.
No, you know, it's just, they understand this language. The older guys don't. And this is where it's all heading, and I think we're onto something. I wanted to say also real quickly about when we were talking about the actors. Each one of these actors, because that's what I can speak to the most, each one of these actors kind of volunteered. They heard about this. They were it was mentioned to them. They immediately, I want to be in this. Well, every actor would say that to get a job, right? But no, they sincerely, and they're all people associated in the science fiction and fantasy genres.
Would you say that, Mira? You just want a job?
I don't think every actor would say, I want to be in any project. I wouldn't.
No, but I mean,
I want to be in a project that I want to be in.
I know.
Because I like it, I respect
You're the exception,
it, because
dear.
I want to work with people. Yeah, I'm an exception.
We're having a marital spat already. Oh my God, my first wife. Anyway.
No, I think really the cast that you assembled,
well, they have an identity already.
Extraordinary actors.
They're
and also
extraordinary.
human beings that have that, you know, I have this thing called critical thinking, you know.
Exactly.
I know Tony very well from many conventions and so on. I mean, these are not just actors who want a job. No, these are people who know what this is all about, and they recognize the value.
And I think they, the audience, have an idea of them already too. They can see them in these type of stories. And this is only a few characters. We have what, how many characters? We have 40?
Yeah, 40 plus reoccurring characters.
Right.
Not a lot.
We had a lot of...
Not a lot.
That's not a lot.
Whose
But no,
names
we
I
had
do
a, you
not
remember in Babylon 5, we had quite a large cast. And it made for so many interesting storylines and intersections of their lives and,
Yeah.
and so on. Certainly, Mira and I know about that. As she slowly became human and I became more Mimbari. So I never had to wear all that stuff, though, thank you.
Lucky,
Lucky you.
people.
Anyway,
We also want to open up for questions that you guys may have about the show.
you
I
have
think there's a
any
mic
curiosity
in the
about the
middle.
show?
If you guys want to stand up and grab the mic, I don't know if that's going to be
there's a
easier.
mic right there.
Yeah, only because
Don't be
it's
shy.
being recorded so you can be heard across
He's
the
wearing
World
a
Wide
tail.
Web.
Okay.
And hello to our fans who are watching at home or on the
Everybody
internet.
online, we appreciate you
Hello.
guys tuning in and
Yes.
everything. It's great. We love it. Thank you so much.
Please, go.
All right. So
Yes.
you're talking about casting, obviously, with 40 characters. So that's quite a breadth of personalities to bring in. And you've talked about, like, Jonathan Rhys-Davies, of course, the lovely Mira up here in front. So if you're talking about dream casting, like for some more of these characters that are still coming, so I heard it from a very reliable source, actually, here, that there's someone signing here at C2E2, perhaps the talented and delicious Chad Coleman, perhaps even.
Boy.
What is your dream cast that, are there people that you would just really be dying to get for this series that maybe you haven't talked to yet or that are just in your head that you're thinking this would connect perfectly to a certain character because of what they've been in or because of their personality? What can you say about dream casting?
Well, I just want to say about him. As we were walking across, you and I were walking across this huge place, and there he was standing there, and I know who he is. I've seen Walking Dead, and he's marvelous. And there he was standing there yesterday in this suit with an
Great
open
suit.
shirt, and I think I said, Trevor, oh my God, look. Or you did it to me, I can't remember.
Yeah,
what.
both, yeah.
But it was kind of that gut level type of thing. I want to answer, who is your dream cast? Well, that could go on forever. I don't know, it's just somebody we're going to know is the right one. We have 3 young leads, though. 3 young leading characters. They're out there somewhere. I can't tell you who they would be right now. They might not even be any kind of known actor or actress. You know, it's just, it's kind of a gut level thing, don't you think? No. I mean, when I saw him, I said, oh my God, he's him, he's him.
Yeah, and we
Miles
haven't officially signed Chad. We
No.
We would love to have Chad because he's
also on a very
amazingly-
big hit show at the
He's
moment.
amazingly fantastic. So, you know, there are a lot of people that we would love to have on the show. I know for Rachel, I would love to have Scotty Thompson on the show. Scotty, call me if you're watching. She's fantastic. There's so many great people that are out there, but I think that as we get closer, we continue to hone who is that perfect cast, because it's also about, like Mira said, it's about how we all interact with each other.
Yeah.
And if the chemistry isn't right from a everybody together standpoint, it's not going to work in other ways. But,
They're out there somewhere.
yeah.
And we'll find them. That's part of the great adventure that we will embark on, because there's nothing more exciting than sitting there in a casting room and that character just walked through the door. That's generally when it happens, by the way. It's crazy. You can come in with all the speeches learned and all your, technique and everything, but there's something magical about when they walk through the door. I think pretty much most of the time, they know you're it. It's a feeling,
It's intangible. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm impressed by your resources, too.
Yeah, we need to talk later.
So my question is, are you shopping this out as a syndicated show or to a specific network? And please tell me not Fox.
Wow, that's rough. We're actually, I can't talk about it too much, but we are in discussions with a few people right now. So it will.
Who are all at Fox, which is crazy.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Love you, Fox. It's all sort of, we're still in discussion. So
Look,
that's all I'll say. If it were up to us,
we'd love to be on Fox. Are you kidding me?
We would love to be
serious.
anywhere.
We want
really
somebody to buy this.
But
and,
anyway, but we'll keep you guys.
If they're the right deal, we'd do it.
Yeah, obviously we'll keep you appraised the second that things happen on Facebook page, LanternCityTV.com, and all of that. So, yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bruce, Mira again. Great to see you. Just honored that you're all both here. This sounds like a great project. I heard whispers of this before the con, and then
Good.
I saw your video post on the C2E2 website. I'm like, two things. Wow, this sounds great. And wait, Bruce was from Illinois? I had no idea. So,
Native son.
Yeah. My question, this might be you guys, is actually for Matt. I'm a writer myself, and when I heard you talking about Lantern City and all the stuff you wrote and the thing that eventually became Rise, I could hear your passion, like just scale of 1 to, I don't know, infinity and beyond. How fun was it to write all this stuff and just to create all that backstory? Because I know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's from a scale of 1 to infinity, probably like a 2.5. I do like 30 words a day on this project and work on what I really want. No,
it's amazing how long it's taken.
Yeah, I think for any writer, it's a dream to be able to create a world. And for me to do it well, I had to know everything before I really started. And even if we never did Rise, which I'm obviously thrilled to be doing, I needed to have that, and everyone who's involved needed to know it, because you just want people to understand this world that people are living in. It just didn't happen like that. You know, these things have to build up over centuries sometimes. And so I would have to say infinity. It's been an absolute honor. And you know, there's so many.
Not infinity and a half.
No, I wouldn't give it. Not yet. But
so close.
But for you, I would say, you know, whatever you're writing, keep doing it. Keep doing it.
And keep the passion for it.
Yeah.
Oh, also, you said something about feeling if you need a young buck with curly hair, I am totally There's got to be curly-haired people in Lantern City.
Yeah, they're outlawed. It's crazy.
They're all outside the wall. It's amazing.
Yes, sir.
You guys kind of started to answer my question earlier with the fact that you're doing a graphic novel and everything, but I was curious on if you guys were kind of doing like a web expansion. I know like Heroes and BioShock did a lot of that with like viral marketing. I was wondering if you guys were doing any of that for Lantern City as well, or if you had plans to do that.
One of the things we're not a web series specifically, but we are having the beginnings of branching out to a bunch of different areas on the web space. One of the things I forgot to mention, and I'm glad that you actually brought this up, is Rise also has a companion app as well. If you're one of the first 100 people to order the book, you'll actually get a download code for the app for free. But the interesting thing about the app is that it not only has the artwork and the text, but also an audiobook function where Bruce reads as Isaac Foster Gray the entire text of the novel. Oh, wow. So it is
time consuming.
So it also will have some other great features in it. We're doing some augmented reality so that the app actually interacts with the book itself. Everybody at Section and Blue Canvas is working incredibly hard to make all that happen. So it's all moving really quickly, and we are working incredibly hard for our ship date and release date of July 19th.
Well, very cool. Glad to hear that. I'd love to hear some audio interludes if you kind of did updates like that.
And we are definitely going to do that. We're going to release some sections, some previews of the text along with some of the illustrations, and also we'll do some audio readings as well from Bruce. That's a great idea.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm actually going to be asking a couple questions from the chat.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you.
The first one is, this is from Angel Claiborne on the chat. Seeing the wall of Lantern City, which seems impossible crossing, will there be a possibility to see if characters can get out of Lantern City, or will the story only happen in Lantern City, a fan from Spain?
Well,
I do know who that is.
Okay.
What did you want to know?
Does anything happen
get outside
in Lantern City, or is there going to be a crossover out?
That's season 3.
We have Angela, and I know her. I'm on Twitter with her. We have a very large story.
Yeah.
We need to have places to go. The mystery of what's outside those walls, and what seemingly looks like a wasteland out there, I don't really want to tell you about it right now.
Well, but I think
because we have to leave some sort of mystery to what's out there.
But also, you find out a lot in Rise. Right. So reading Rise really gives you sort of the primer for everything that Lantern City, the television show, is.
Yeah, it gives a history.
Yeah.
Okay, and one more small question from Derek M. Brown. he wants to know if there's any possibility of the actual steampunk artifacts from the show that will be planned for sale for people that are fans of the show.
I
think
would
like
marketing-wise, we would later on. Yeah, I mean, we would have things available. That,
you know, in the words of, you know, Spaceballs. Spaceballs the flamethrower. Spaceballs the toilet paper.
You bet.
And my favorite, Spaceballs the doll, me, and it's going to be Bruce.
I
You're
plan
pull
on
a little
having another
string.
action
He's gonna
figure.
Say, Lantern City. So. The answer to the question is, I think like you see with a lot of different props on television shows and films, yes, eventually when we get to that wonderful, beautiful moment where we're on the air and we're doing more conventions like this, I'm sure that there will be opportunities where some of those great pieces are not only from the fans but from us and back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hi,
yes,
I'm wondering if you are going to put in like little, you know, sci-fi referential kind of Easter eggs into the plot. And the reason why I'm wondering is because I thought about this earlier, well, when I found out at TeslaCon that Mira was going to be in it, and that she was playing a matron, you know, a character in the Grey family, which is the ruling family, and I thought, she's been on the ruling Grey Council.
She was on the Grey. I told you
and
that today. The
if
Grey
there's
Council.
a
Yeah.
link there, if that was intentional.
It's actually all coincidence.
Total coincidence.
And none of the character portrayed are true people. And isn't that always happen at the beginning of or the end of a movie? But anyway,
That's the disclaimer.
That is the disclaimer. No, actually, I
actually told him that today. I said, you
did.
realize that as Delenn, she was on the Grey Council. Now she's of the Grey Empire. There's a lot of gray involved.
I'm going to have to talk to Joe about that tonight at dinner. Anyway.
But you know what? If that works for you, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
I mean, coincidental stuff is magical. I mean, and it has to be respected.
Absolutely. I respect it. Yes, sir.
I just want to say I think you guys got a great thing going on here. Pre-order number 12.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was curious, do you guys plan on having this air online as well as on TV? I know you said you don't want it to be a web series, but...
Yeah, I mean, once we get a network locked in and everything's moving forward, 100% if it's, you know, an HBO Go or if it's, depending on where we end up landing, 100% it'll be in multiple places at once.
Great, because
I'll have it.
I really want to see you guys, but I don't have cable.
You got it. I'll project it on your bedroom ceiling for you. That's one of your pre-order benefits, I think. I project. Yes. Bruce, Matt, and I and Mira pantomime the entire show for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi. You had mentioned taking fan submissions for some of the steampunk articles that they'd be wearing. Kind of a two-part. One, will you have a website that they could submit this to, or do you already?
We already do, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And two, are those articles recognized, you know, if I wanted, you know, like you mentioned her earrings, if I wanted to get those, would you say, okay, you go to this site?
So the way that it's working right now, it's a great question. We have, if you go to lanterncitytv.com, and you basically go to the Workers Forum. That's a forum where you'll see we have 16,000 workers right now in terms of how many people have signed up for the forum, and hundreds of submissions. You basically sign up, submit your artwork. Right now, it's not art for sale. All of the artists on the Workers Forum all retain the rights to their own pieces. So it's could, in theory, if you really loved something that you saw, if you saw, like I said, some of this, these lanterns, these lights that were just posted, I know that guy has an Etsy shop. A lot of the makers have their own pieces that are in multiple places. We're not really designing this as a commerce site because it's really all for submission to the show. But if you have a link to your own site or your own shop, that's all fine and dandy with us.
Right, more for the artists, so they can
absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
like
it would
I've
only
said,
help them. It's a marvelous advertising.
Forum for them to network.
Yeah, and ultimately, what
forum,
my sort of other vision of Lantern City was this multinational steampunk gallery where artists from all over the world could show their work and have it seen by millions and millions of people. Because I think that's something that we all are, as fans of genre television, we love creating things. Even, you know, I mean, not just for steampunk people, but look at all of the cosplay that's going on here in all over. Interestingly enough, one of our lead contributors, our creative collaborator Tom Williford, who created all of the gear for us in the trailer. He's been a real advocate for the show, and he does cosplay books with McGraw-Hill. And we just found out that McGraw-Hill is actually going to do a Lantern City cosplay book. So no release date for that yet, but that is actually something that they're planning on. So it's all part and parcel of the bigger universe that we're trying to help to make.
Well, thank you, and we can't wait to see all your hard work.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Us too.
well, I don't know. He did ask where it was. It's LanternCityTV.com.
Yeah, that's the link for the
forum.
LanternCityTV.com.
Hi.
So this is phenomenal. This is exactly what I hope television does. So that's very exciting. And I think that your marketing strategy is pretty great, getting the fans involved in advance. But also about the makers, as an artist, I see a lot of artists giving away their work for free. And you know, steampunk stuff is expensive to make. It's very time consuming to make. Requires a lot of skill and genius. Are you asking those artists to give their work away for free, or are you planning to compensate them?
No, I mean, we're not, the compensation very specifically, and, you know, thank you lawyers, is really a showcase for those makers' work. So there really isn't a compensation. We're not, like I said, the artist retains all of their own rights. You can choose to submit your work to be considered for the show. We're not doing any replication of any designs or anything that are that we get in, basically. So those are all for those artists specifically. Our sort of internal makers, Tom Williford, Tom Banwell, Joey Marscosi, they're really the ones that we're calling on to make sort of Lantern City specific items, that like the Lantern City Guard, those kinds of things. So it's really more of a showcase of work. Once the show is in production, every week on the website, we'll actually post the clip that maker specifically had in the show, and that'll be featured, and a little artist blurb about them will be featured with links to their, you know, back to their sites and things like that. So it's really about advertising and exposure for those makers.
It could be
rather than cash.
Okay.
Yes.
No, it would be very messy otherwise.
Yeah.
As soon as someone lawyered up.
Hi there.
I had a couple of quick questions. First off, I was wondering, how exactly did you come up with the title Lantern City? And when this goes big, which I can tell you for sure it is, the steampunk community is going to fall in love with you guys.
Thank you.
Do you have plans to branch out and like maybe have like a comic book series and maybe a video game? Because I'm telling you,
well, video games certainly
big.
Yeah.
Let me take one thing and then I'll give it to you. The nice thing about working with Section Studios is they basically create video game art. They're the ones that have done all of the work for God of War, all of the concept work for all 3 God of Wars.
No, it's 6 now.
Oh, it's 6 now?
It's okay.
Well,
6.
However many. All right, I'm a little behind. And also for the, help me, what's the other series?
Thor.
Oh, Thor, yeah, thank you, Bruce, Thor. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why you got one over me, good job.
I'm so Thor. Let's go. Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the things that's great about that is that those guys have access to such a great group of people in terms of building those games. Lantern City is destined for video games, and I'll turn it over to Matt, but I think that Rise is really sort of the tip of the sword of our transmedia expansion into comic books and other things.
Yeah, but to answer your question about why it's called Lantern City, you just have to read the book.
All right.
It's in there.
You can't give away all these secrets, you know.
The other thing I wanted to ask, because you all are going to have so many fans and you said you have so many characters, would you guys be ever willing to allow fans to have a chance at being in the show? Fans that can obviously act, you know, and...
Well, I mean, we got the curly hair guy down here first, so maybe you're a second, I don't know.
Okay.
What I will say this, that we are a group of people that has done the exact opposite of what normal television production is. We've gone to the fan base first. We've built a world that everybody appreciates and is interested in. We've ensured that we're not the Hollywood guys that are screwing up everybody's favorite new genre. Sure. So we're asking the community to contribute to the actual production of the show. I would say that absolutely anything is possible because we have totally lost our minds.
And then I had one last question.
Real quick.
I just wanted to know, Bruce, what advice do you have for aspiring actors that may be among us tonight?
Get out. No. No.
That's what I usually say. That's what I
tried to tell that to my children, and
Didn't
none
work.
of them have listened to me, and any of my sons. You just have to want it more than anything else. You have to dedicate yourself to it. You have to be willing to take, criticism, and right?
Right.
And you have to be a very tough individual. But you have to be diligent, and you have to want it more than anything else. I would say that to any young actor. I know Mira did. I did. I wanted it more than anything in life. That was the only way I was going to express Bruce Boxleitner. That's why I felt as a young man. I can't paint. I can paint, but
Houses. You paint houses.
I could paint houses and fences. But, I can't, I had to somehow express myself, and acting was my vehicle.
Yeah.
And
I think that's also true for anything, like if you
writing
want to write,
is-
it's the same thing. But I mean, to you, both of your credits, I mean, even though they're phenomenal actors, they're also really good at other things too. I mean, they're both good writers. I mean, Mira just had a play premiere, which is awesome.
She just flew in from this.
Mira flew in from Europe because the play was premiering, but she was gracious enough to fly all the way from Europe to Chicago to be with us today. So
got in late
thank you
last
so
night,
much. Lady Gray.
Yeah.
We have only 5 minutes left, so I want to get through the rest of the questions, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. This question is for Trevor and Matt. Regarding the political ideologies of the ruling class, is it going to be more of an indictment of a specific ideology, or more like shades of gray where the viewers decide whether this class is doing good or just...
That's all, Matt.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing that Mira had alluded to before is, even in her character, she's not necessarily a good character, she's not necessarily a bad character, and we will clearly show you what it is like to be in all of these different levels of the city. But, I mean, for a majority of each, they have these specific ideologies. So, of course, if you're in the ruling class, what do you want? You want the oppression of everyone else for your own benefit, right? And now with the working class people, they're starting to, and I hate to use the word of the book title, but they're starting to rise up, starting to realize, wait a minute, what are you keeping us safe from, right? You're keeping us walled in, but what are you keeping us safe from? And so, and then of course, the underground is a very dynamic place where there's competing ideologies. And what's interesting in all of them is that people will emerge sort of as leaders, and then there's a lot of distrust for that because, we've had leaders. We don't necessarily just need more of you people because who have you learned from? You've learned from the ruling class. So, you want to apply their methods to us? That doesn't make sense. So there's a lot of competing ideologies, but I think there's very clear within each strata of it.
But I think every character also believes they're in the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the different
Their
stratas of
ideology
society.
is the right one.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. First, I want to say thanks so much for coming out today. This panel is the reason I found out about this project. Looks awesome, sounds awesome.
Great,
And
thank you.
everything you've told us so far about the fans' influence, do you have more of a specific vision for how the plot's going to play out, for how the character's going to play out, or are you going to have, because every show pretty much these days, the fans have an impact on how it pans out. I kind of think of Daryl Dixon from Walking Dead, he wasn't necessarily going to be in it as long as he has been, so do you have more of a specific vision, or will fans maybe have a huge impact on how it plays out?
I think the biggest impact you guys will have is keeping us on the air. I do have
Well done.
No, I do have some control issues, so I'm not as open to fan submissions for plot. But that's just me. I'm a little crazy. So.
No,
We're
I've
cool
gotten
with
in
the art,
trouble
not
for
necessarily
criticizing fan fiction before. I can abstain from any
Next
comments about fan fiction.
question?
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead, please.
I interrupted
We actually only
you.
have
I'm so sorry.
1 minute left, so.
Thank you.
As a mom, is it going to be okay for my children to watch the premiere of this, or should I preview it first?
I think you should preview it first.
Your age of children.
How old are your children?
If they're 19, then no problems. If they're 6, I would.
They're 14 and 10.
Oh, 14 is fine. Absolutely.
It also depends on what network we end up on.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no nudity.
We may trend more, well, depending if they ask for it, you never can tell.
Yeah. Because remember this, whoever we end up, and we will, whoever we end up working with, network, studio, whatever, they're going to have their say about things
I think
too. And
we're
that's where
actually-
we will come in with compromise and all kinds of things. So yeah, I think, I don't see this as anything small children would want to watch.
Yeah.
It's too
I think we're
complex
actually
for
going to have to wrap it up here, guys. Our time is up, but please
We
go
can't get these two guys?
lanterncitytv.com/rise. Pre-order the book. It's all available. For those last couple of questions, we'll be on the side, and we'll be more than happy to answer those.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
Appreciate it.